your Staten Island Comedy Show with your host, Nevin Cummings!
Fred Coscia, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Staten Island Comedy Show. We're going to have a great show for you tonight, so stay tuned. It's a virtual show. We have comedians to perform their stand-up sets on location, and you will see them right here on the Staten Island Comedy Show. Our first comedian is Ethan Feldman. He is from Brooklyn, New York. He has been doing comedy for 4 years. What made him get into comedy was he always enjoyed stand-up and liked watching it. But eventually, he decided to take the leap from an audience member to a performer and hasn't looked back since. You can find him on his website, www.ethanfeldman.me. Our first comedian of the show, Ethan Feldman, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, I performed in all of those TV shows, yes. Yep, absolutely, and I'm here, so yay. Oh guys, thanks so much for coming out tonight, supporting live comedy. Give yourselves a round of applause for coming out. My name is Ethan, I will be your host for the evening, and as the host I have two very important jobs. One is to keep the show moving, and two is to not mess up anybody's names. Because that's happened to me before, and it sucks. Last year, I did a show in Portland, Maine, and I guess they were excited because someone from New York was coming up there. They were really hyping me up, and they went, guys, this next comic is coming to us all the way from New York City. Give it up right now for Corey Feldman! Yeah, that actually happened, so hopefully that doesn't happen tonight. Oh, that's a good-looking crowd. Where are my native New Yorkers at? Anyone? Oh, man. That's depressing. That is depressing. We are a minority right now, officially. I'll tell you guys a little bit about myself. I'm a native New Yorker. Grew up here in Manhattan, actually. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. On the mean streets of the Upper West Side. Yeah, or as I like to call it, Little Jerusalem. I'm Jewish, too. Surprise! The Upper West Side is very Jewish. My parents still live up there, and they live by Judaica. Yeah, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's a store where we buy all of our Jewish stuff. Yeah, it's a real place. You can buy like yarmulkes there, menorahs, Jew gold. I'm kidding, you can't buy Jew gold. You have to earn it! But I moved recently. I live in Brooklyn now, and I was taking the F train a couple nights ago. Moved from Brooklyn, and we were, I was on the F train, and the train kind of got stuck a little bit by a stop. And then the conductor made this announcement. He went, ladies and gentlemen, this train will be making all stops tonight. Yeah. I'm not an expert, but isn't that what it normally does? How does that qualify as an announcement? I kind of liked it though. It's like the conductor was just reassuring us that everything was going to be okay. But it also got me thinking, like, is that just how sad the MTA has gotten? They're just making the conductors announce that the train is just, I don't know, operating as it should. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys are in for a real treat. It's America. You know, we're going to stop at every station, extra long too, so you can all just smell the piss on the floor. Because everybody knows New York City has the best piss. We do, it's the water. Yeah, we got the best bagels, the best pizza, best piss from the cock, you know? No? Alright. Speaking of cock, I had to go to the doctors recently and give them a semen sample, which was really weird. So backstory, my wife and I have been trying to have kids, and she wasn't getting pregnant. She was saying it was my fault, like I was the problem. So I went to the doctors to make sure that I'm not shooting blanks. And everything checked out. I can tell you guys are all super worried about me. My semen was fine. So thank you. Thanks. Yeah, so I really got to rub that in my wife's face. Thank you for that. I'm actually surprised it was fine, because when I was growing up, my brother used to punch me in the balls a lot. Anyone else with siblings like that? Yeah. It actually worked, guys. Not only did my wife get pregnant, but she gave birth. I'm a father now. Thank you. And my wife's at home watching our kid, and I'm here. So clearly I am the best father. But I'm excited, though, because my wife's Chinese, and I'm Jewish. So I realized our kid's going to be 50% Chinese, 50% Jewish, and 100% the ultimate student. Hell yeah. Or just cheap and whiny with a really tiny penis. She's stingy with money. Oh, come on, it's self-deprecating, racist, and anti-Semitic all at the same time. I'm just kidding, it's a girl.
Thanks, Ethan, that was great. Our next comedian is Schill. Art is originally from Brooklyn and moved to Valley Stream when he was 12 years old. Art always told jokes at get-togethers, but he realized that stand-up comedy might be right for him when he was watching an episode of AGT and thought the stand-up comedians looked like they were having such a good time. I can relate to that. He tried it out, and now he tells jokes in front of large audiences. If you would like to find more of Art, you can catch him on Facebook at Art Schill, or catch him on his email at acschll@ecp/careers.com. This is because he has also been helping people with their careers for over 30 years. That's amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, Art Schill!
Just happened again. Lately, people have been telling me I look like you, Hefner. It was pretty cool until I realized he's dead. The other day, I was in a men's room, excuse me, and the guy at the next door said, "Hey, how are you?" I said, "I'm fine." He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm sitting in Miranda doing the same thing you're doing." He said, "You mind if I come over?" I said, "I'm kind of busy right now." And then he said, "Listen, I'll have to call you back. Some idiot in the next door keeps saying something like that." So as John said, I'm 82 years old. But even at my age, I still find rolling out of bed in the morning no problem. The hard part is getting up off the floor. When I met my wife, whenever I take a girl home to meet my parents, my mother never liked a single one of them. And I didn't really know what to do. So a friend of mine suggested I find a girl just like my mother, which made sense. And I did. I found a girl exactly like my mother. I took her home. My mother loved her. My father, not so much. I'm a little bit worried because I read in the newspaper where the government is going to start deporting senior citizens instead of illegals. It seems they're easier to catch. And they don't remember how to get home. Well, one thing about getting older, you learn the difference between right and wrong. I was at a party recently, I had a little bit too much to drink, so I took a bus home. Pretty surprising, since I've never driven a bus before. Like my comedy, I'm going to be on the Jimmy Fallon show in November. That's assuming enough of you write to Jimmy Fallon to So in closing, let me just say, live, love, and laugh, because you never know when this crazy ride is going to be over.
Our next comedian is Linda Marcus Smith. She's originally from Portland, Oregon. She has been doing comedy since March 13th, 2014. What made her get into comedy was her only child decided she didn't want to talk to her. Linda decided to live and help others laugh. She's a proud Army veteran, and she just started veteran shows around the country. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Linda Marcus Smith. On her YouTube channel, Linda Marcus Smith, where she has hundreds of interviews of comics' lives. Many legends. Our next comedian of the show, Linda Marcus Smith, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. That's all you get. That's your teaser, folks. Welcome to Vegas. That's nothing but teasing from this baby boomer. I'm Linda Marcus Smith. I just moved here from Portland. I was in the military. Any veterans tonight? Thank you for your service. Yes, yes, yes. I'm aging. I don't know if you can tell that I'm aging. Anybody else? This is my relatable material, folks. This is it. I just turned 21 for the third time. Plus 5, I'm not gonna lie. A white drunk heckler lady last night said, "Oh, you look good for 68. Please come to every show I ever do. Give it up for him, man. I love it. Do not stop. She yelled out, "You look good for 68. She was drunk and she got that I was 68 faster than anybody in the room. Oh. You know, and I like it when people, you know, say you look good for 68. But that's just like every white guy I know. And you're gonna like this one. And that's why I like black men. I lost the guy in the red jacket. He's like, nope, not having it. But, you know, what's really weird is you thought that I was going to like black men for something else. And this is a clean set. This is my clean set. But the thing is that I come from Portland. We have white hipsters out there. Don't get me started on white hipsters. You know what they say to me? What? You look amazeballs. I don't know how to Google that. Yeah, I do, but I don't even want to. Yeah. But yeah, it's weird turning 21 over and over. That store, Forever 21. Yeah, they had that sign, Forever 21. I'm like, no, witches with a B. So this is my clean set. I'm forever turning 21. And they said, you can't do that. I said, freedom of speech, I think. And they said, no. And in fact, if you come in our store, you're paying triple witch with a B. Oh, it's not happening. But guess what? They called me the B word. And you know what's a B? Karma. They went out of business. And I think there's a connection.
Thanks, Linda. That was awesome. Our next comedian is Carol Johnson. She is from San Diego, California. She has been doing comedy for 1.5 years. What made Carol get into comedy was that she always wanted to do comedy, but marriage and children happened. Now she's on the other side. You can find her on Instagram, Carol Johnson LOL, on Twitter, SK84FN. Our next comedian of the show, Carol Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not easy being an older mom. My biological clock didn't only stop ticking, my hot flashes made it explode. And I know now why it's called menopause. It's because my hormones have hit the pause button, and every day I'm a little closer to becoming the man of my dreams. It must show. My son calls me dude. I just really can't wait till I can pee standing up. It's gonna be a great time saver, am I right, ladies? No more standing in those long lines for me. But I tell you, if I start leaving the toilet seat up at night, that will drive me really crazy. And whatever happened to growing old gracefully? I have to work out every day just to keep up with gravity. Usually yoga, Pilates, and running. Away from my responsibilities, but my kids find me anyway. Namaste, my ass. If I have to do one more downward dog, I swear I'm gonna bite someone's leg. And And I realize I may look okay on the outside, but underneath my clothing, starting to look like the earthquake map of California. And boy, have my tectonic plate shifted. All that working out, and my butt is still so flat that I could do squats from here to the moon, and it will never resemble any of the Kardashians. And I'll add Caitlyn, that's how flat it is. Until I'm really old and I start wearing diapers. And then like girls in the old days, before they had implants, they used to stuff their bras. I'm going to stuff my diapers. I'm going to stuff one cheek with snacks. So when I fall down and I can't get back up, I won't starve to death. And the other cheek with treats. So while I'm down there, the cat doesn't eat my face. I'm already turning to my mom. I need reading glasses. I constantly wander into rooms and I can't remember why I'm there. And every once in a while now when I walk, I fart. Another step closer to becoming the man of my dreams. I was married. I am single now. I don't like to use the word divorce. It just sounds too negative. I prefer to think of myself as free range. And I should have known the marriage wasn't going to work out. There were so many warning signs. I thought it was great when he started working out every day. Then he bought a sports car and traded me in on a newer model. It's okay, then she traded him right in on a newer model, almost right away. I am a perfect example of midlife crisis roadkill. The last time I saw him, I told him our vows were supposed to be until death do us part. He didn't look dead. Yet. I really missed him. By about an inch. But I'm working on it. Being free range, I'm free to date again, which actually sounds pretty fun, but at my age, my kids think that I should stay at home having quality time with our cat. I can't understand why I'd want to start dating again if I'm not going to have more children. I can understand. I think it creeps them out to think about their mom still wanting to practice. No fear of pregnancy is pretty nice, but the calories you burn? Wow! I wouldn't mind adding that to my workout routine. And I don't like to brag, but I'm really good in bed. I never fall out. But I don't sleep through the night anymore, so when I have a hard time getting to sleep, I don't count sheep, I count ex-lovers. Works like a charm. Most of them are pretty dull. And it's not like I have that many. I can still count them on one hand. Anyway, now that I am free range and dating again, I'm actually really afraid to date. Because now it seems everyone's pierced and tattooed. Looks painful and time consuming. Besides, I've been married, had children, and hemorrhoids. I think I've experienced enough pain for a lifetime. And I'm going to leave you with my public service announcement. If you do not have children yet, think very carefully before you have them, because once a parent, always a parent, and sometimes they never leave. And that is why some animals eat their young. Thank you guys so much. Have a great day.
Our next comedian is Atlas Novack. He is from Santa Monica, California. He's been doing comedy for about 10 years. What made him get into comedy was he got his wisdom teeth out at 17 and he was high as balls from the painkillers. Then a family friend dragged him to the Unurban Cafe in Santa Monica to get coffee. While he was online and high, he saw a sign on the wall for open mics every Wednesday. Atlas decided there and then he was going to try stand-up. When he did, a few nights later, he fell in love with it. You can find him on Twitter and Instagram at Atlas Novack, or follow his podcast at Bad Reading Pod on Twitter and Instagram. Our next comedian of the show, Atlas Novack, ladies and gentlemen.
Guys, I have epilepsy! Woo! Why am I celebrating that? Epilepsy, the disease that gives you seizures. Awesome. Not only does it sound like a beautiful name for like a baby girl at the turn of the century, but I could definitely see someone being like, my grandma epilepsy, she left us this, decomposing house for us to clean up. Thanks. But, epilepsy is the only disease that I have, and I have many, that when I tell people I have it, they try and exacerbate it. Like, I've never gone up to somebody with a broken leg and be like, guys, I have a broken leg, and they take up a big wind-up and kick me in the shin. But every time I talk to somebody about it, I'm like, I have epilepsy, they immediately start flashing a flashlight in my face, trying to set it off. Like, hey man, we want a human disco ball right here in this Jamba Juice. Let's go, I got my diagnosis when I was 17 years old. I had a girl over for the first time, and we went to sleep in the same bed, and then I woke up in an ambulance, which I thought I had done something awesome. Where I was in I'm like, wait, we were in bed together, and then now I'm in this ambulance. What happened? And they were like, yeah, you had a seizure during your sleep. She called an ambulance, and that's why you're here. I was like, why are you over-explaining stuff? And he's like, well, you were in a twilight state for a long time, so we had to kind of ask you questions to see how lucid you were. I was like, how'd that go? And they go, well, we asked you who the president was, and you said Rutherford B. Hayes, which is technically kind of sort of correct. I'm like, what? Okay, what else? And they're like, well, we asked you what the day of the week was, and you recited the Unabomber's Manifesto. So that's probably a whole nother set that you got to figure out for yourself. Epilepsy is not actually what I have. It's not. I don't have like the full. If you shine a light in my face, I'm not going to fall over. I have something called nocturnal seizure disorder, which is a lighter form of it, and it only happens during sleep, and it happens because of lack of sleep, which is a dick move. That is my body's equivalent of when you were a kid. You remember when you were a kid and you'd be like, you know what, I'm going to do something nice and go do the dishes. And then your mom's like, hey, can you do the dishes? Yeah. I take a medication for it. So I haven't had a seizure in over a year, but it's just something that I have to take meds for. And my medication is called Aptium, which is not the normal seizure meds. Usually it's Keppra that they give epileptics. And the reason I take Aptium is Keppra just didn't work, which they really ought to put that in drug commercials. Side effects may include erectile dysfunction yourself, and it just might not work. I thought there was something incredibly wrong with me. They're like, yeah, it only has like an 80% success rate, so you're special. I'm like, okay, cool. So they put me on something called Trileptal, which the side effect was it would just make me forget what I was talking about, which is great when you're a comic. The amount of times I've written my set on my hand continues to this day because of that medication. After about a year and a half of being on Trileptal, I went back to my neurologist and I was like, hey, can I Remember what I was talking about. That's what it was. And they're like, yeah, there's this other med called Aptium. I was like, what's the side effects for that? They're like, it's just trileptal without the making you forget stuff. And I was like, why does trileptal exist? That's like going to the Apple store and they also have Apple IIs for sale right now. Like, awesome. So I also have a family group text with my family. I never really paid attention to it before because I lived at home, but now that I've started looking at it, I realize that my mom is insane. In person, she's perfectly lucid, easy to talk to, but in this family group text, she's like, you remember at the end of football games where they interview like the concussed linebacker, and it's everything's not quite one sentence and not quite another. You'd be like, hey mom, where are we meeting up for dinner? And she'd go, where we meet up for dinner is where we come together as a family. I just want an address. Can you tell me who the president is? And then she's like, Rutherford B. Hayes. I was Atlas Novack. You guys have a fun show.
That's the end of the show. I want to thank everyone for watching. Also, if you want to see previous episodes of the Staten Island comedy shows, go to my YouTube channel, Nevin Cummings Comedy, and please subscribe. Also, please visit my website, nevincummingscomedy.tv. There you will find information about me and the show. Also, please go to and like my Facebook page, Nevin Cummings Comedy. Goodbye. See you on the next show.